Hello everyone, as usual it's me Pavlo, and today we'll be talking about Tempotec V3 Blaze. It's an updated version of their player V3. I didn't test an original version, but I will tell you about this updated one. And I like Tempotec because it's a company that is driving by the love to the sound, as they don't create a lot of device. They are focused on a really narrow lineup, but when they create something, it's usually gear that provides a great value, and V3 Blaze is not an exception. I didn't test original V3, but here they used more powerful CPU, and also they improved amplification, and it's capable of delivering more than 100 milliwatts for 32 ohm load per channel from the balanced output, and almost 250 per channel for the single-ended output, which is pretty nice. Here used two AK4493 SEQ deck chips, and all that available for price about $200. I will add links in the description. Its retail price is $240, but it's available with discount for now for $200, which makes it a pretty good offer. So let's have a closer look. Player comes in a pretty compact box, which makes sense for a kind of small player. Nice polygraphy, nothing fancy, but looks accurate and neat. Inside we have this cardboard box, and you can see that we have flame over V3 representing this blaze part. So as usual, on top we have a player itself, box with accessories, and a pretty nice Fox leather case. So looks good, and it's nice to have it in the accessories set for this small price. And here we have some manual, warranty card, spare screen protectors, because it comes with screen protectors applied. And also you'll get USB Type-A to USB Type-C cable to charge it and use as DAC. Also short USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable for on-the-go usage. And the 75 ohms adapter, probably for super sensitive earphones to reduce the level of background noise. But actually I've tried and it doesn't have that much background noise, so maybe it's kind of extra accessory just in case, to give you a bit of additional value or an extra possibility to experiment with sound. Design and build quality of V3 is pretty great. It's made of metal with glass on the front and back panel. Interesting and nice looking mirror-like company logo and the flame symbol. Of course, it gathers fingerprints pretty fast, both on back and front panel. But thanks to nice coating, it's pretty easy to wipe. Or you can just store it in case to avoid any excessive fingerprint gathering. But I kinda enjoy this feel of metal in my hand. Here actually how it looks inside of case. Also, in my opinion, pretty nice and strict for those who like classical designs. And it's not super heavy, but at the same time you can feel that it's built really solidly. So what we have on the sides, here is micro SD slot. Spec-wise it supports up to 2 terabytes cards. I didn't check this, but probably it's true. Here we have on-off button also working as a screen lock, and 2 buttons for volume control. Also here is a LED indicator that can change colors depending on the signal resolution. And on the bottom we have balanced output, Type-C, with all functionality we can expect, and 3.5mm out. On the front we have a nice screen, not each to each. There are noticeable bezels around the screen, but at the same time it looks pretty decent with good viewing angles, and Of course, it's a sensitive screen, so you can use touch for control it. And 3 playback control buttons on the bottom, so pretty nice. You can easily reach volume buttons and these buttons underneath the screen too. And it's also really convenient when you need the blind control. These 3 buttons are really easy to find. So let me select some track to show you the screen quality. Here it is. Is it the maximum brightness or not? Need to check this in settings, but in general it looks pretty nice. Not something super great, but nice screen with decent viewing angles and enough of brightness to be visible even in sunny day conditions. So all these aspects are really nice. And also you can control it with swipes. Swipes are nicely recognized, so in terms of overall build quality, it's a pretty solid device. In terms of battery, it took about 2 hours to fully charge it, and you can get from 8 to 12 hours of work usually. It depends on the gain you'll be using, it depends on output balanced or single-ended, it depends on load, and of course it also depends on amount of wireless functions you'll be using. With some sensitive earphones and single-ended output, I'm getting like 11 hours and sometimes even more. With some tough to drive load, about 8 hours, maybe sometimes a bit more, but kind of this. It's a non-Android player with all benefits and drawbacks connected to this. Firmware is made by Hibi, that means that you're getting a lot of functionality and tons of useful features. So here is the main menu, and you can see 6 parts. So music, streaming, probably let's navigate step by step. So music, you can see all your tracks in one list. You can browse by files on the SD card or USB storage. You can browse by albums. So as you can see, player is pretty snappy thanks to this updated CPU. Nginx 1600 is pretty decent in terms of performance for a player. And also you can list by artists, genres and album artists. Also on this screen you can get to the search. As usual for the non-Android Hibi players, Hibi firmware players, I mean, you need to use this old phone-like dialing. Also there are playlists, favorites, recent, custom playlists and recently added files. And a lot of playback settings. So you'll get MSEB, which is a really good technology developed by Hibi, and you can adjust the sound to your likings, like making it brighter or warmer, for example, or making sibilance softer or more crisp, and that's more convenient than equalizer. But if you want equalizer, you can also get it, I don't know, 10 bands or 12 bands, but more than enough to tweak your sound to your liking. Then music database update, it's also pretty fast. Music update mode, playback mode, so you can select the one you need. Output selection, headphones out or line out, then DSD output mode and gain compensation. Resume playback, I usually prefer to put position here. Gapeless playback, honestly still don't understand why someone can use gapeless playback off. Sound field, it's kind of a plugin that tries to improve the imaginary stage, but it's interesting to experiment, but results are not great. But as it's a bonus feature, I think it's okay. You can set digital volume output to maximum if you're planning to adjust it with your digital to analog converter and its amplifier. You can limit maximum volume and select will it memorize volume or not. Crossfade, don't know why. Gain, replay gain, balance, deck digital filter, then play through folders and through albums, repeat, speed play, and automatically slide to playback screen. So lot of options, you can tweak the behavior to your liking. For stream media, you can have Tidal and Qobuz. Of course, they are pretty limited, no offline mode, just online, and the interface is kind of simple, but still it's a nice feature to have. Then wireless, you can here connect it to Bluetooth or to Wi-Fi. You can select codecs, adjust volume, and so on. And also you can connect it to Wi-Fi. Then you can use Hi-B links, and that means you can control playback from your smartphone, for example, and browse files with even more convenience. You can import music via Wi-Fi, not super fast option, but if you need just few files, it's kind of okay. Then DLNA, but I don't have any DLNA to show you, and AirPlay if you want to use it. Then it has built-in book reader, absolutely useless feature for me. And system settings. You can select language, backlight time, screen brightness, font size, USB mode, automatic device, and USB storage. And then limit USB current, deck feedback, select time settings and idle shutdown, sleep timer, display battery percentage, standby, LED indicator, double tap screen to wake up. Nice feature, but increases battery consumption a little bit. Button operations when screen is off. Shortcut menu, you can select should it be drop down or pull up, and what functions you'll need in this menu. Screensaver settings, screen rotation, firmware update, and certification information. And about just an extra information. And here is this drop-down menu, playback control buttons you've selected, and the volume. And here is now playing screen, album cover, adding to favorites, then playback order, navigation, progress indicator, and additional menu that allows you to do some basic operations with files. In general, firmware is pretty nice, works okay, and I didn't experience any issues in my regular scenarios of music listening. Sound-wise, we have a player that is slightly more on the exciting side of things, but still, of course, it's almost natural and pretty technical, but also as a bit of spice or decoration. Here we have slightly highlighted macrodynamics and emotions, which make sound pretty engaging. But probably let's talk step by step. So bass is really well controlled, taking into account the amount of power it has. It's not surprising. Bass has maximum depth. It's really well controlled and stays on the place. Resolution is normal, not superb, but normal. Amount of small nuances and details is adequate. There is no attempt to highlight that small nuances. And also here we have a slightly boosted sense of rumble and tightness. But not too much, just a bit of spice, and that's it. Weight is really well distributed, and there is no attempts to add some weight or stuff like that. In general, bass is pretty universal, but it's represented with a hint of additional excitement. But not too much, you know, I will highlight this fact many times, because almost all modern players are natural with a slight hint of some coloration. So, First example is Excitable Boy, cover by John McEuen, and the nice recorded cover with exciting bass line, and it's represented really well, and it's really fitting that upbeat mood of this track, and I kind of enjoy this track, both original version and this cover, because of that contrast between lyrics and overall mood of the song. And second example, it's Naudir, I suppose, by Wardruna, really great collective. I really like their albums, and here we getting a lot of different low frequency sounds, almost ambient atmosphere, and that all is represented in a nice and engaging way. Mids are emotional with a great amount of excitement. Okay, this word is like earworm now for me during this review, and you'll get boosted female and male vocals, especially dramatic vocals, and also slightly highlighted guitars, but of course not too much. In general, instruments are represented nicely with good sense of realism. Resolution is good, also not maximum, but really good, without excessive focus on the micro contrast and without being too nitpicking for the quality of records. But of course, as usual, better records will give a better results. Imaginary stage is above average in width and in depth. It's not super huge, but with nice sense of three-dimensional building. And both width and depth are like, how to say it, there is no sense, that it's enlarged more than it needs to be, so really not super spacious, but really well built. And examples for the mids. First one is Metatron by the Mars Volta. Nice. A lot of guitars, percussions, and everything in this track. And that all requires a nice amount of technicality, but at the same time not being too monitoring. And this player does it really great. And Peter Gabriel, Darkness, nice orchestral track with a lot of sense of epicness and like massive presence of music, and this player also delivers it on a really good level. Of course, not the maximum level, but still pretty decent. And treble, like well extended, above average, proper attacks and decays, very basic but present layering, which is kind of nice. It's not overly boosted or super shy, so it's absolutely like natural in terms of amount, but if you want, you can adjust it with equalizer or MSEB. They both work really well without spoiling the sound, so kind of nice thing to have this adjustment opportunities. And it's lacking some richness and saturation and layering compared to more expensive players, but in general, treble in affordable players became better and better too, so another sign of progress here. And first example, it's Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays. It's for you, nice airy guitar, a lot of percussions, and all that requires great treble performance. And this player doesn't play this at 100%, but still delivers a really good amount of treble and renders it really well. And Sanctuary by Miles Davis, also a lot of overtones, a lot of everything in the treble area, and almost the same as I said previously. Not the maximum level of treble performance, but actually pretty adequate and enjoyable. In terms of pairings, it's a pretty universal device. I didn't experience a lot of background noise even with sensitive earphones. Maybe with some even more sensitive models you can get a bit of background noise, but your back is covered with that 75 ohms adapter, but I didn't experience issues with that. And it has enough of power to drive even full-size headphones, even not super power-hungry planars, so pretty universal in this aspect, and it has a really great level of control, and meaning that we have here nice amplification and pretty decent power distribution schematics. Speaking about the comparisons, honestly, I don't see much sense in comparing it with Android players. So either you want Android or non-Android, and usually it's like 100% distinguishing feature. But still, in this price range, we have some players worth mentioning. So, just a few recent. I didn't test regular V3, unfortunately, so can't say anything. And also, I didn't test Shenlink M1 Plus, if I remember right, which got a lot of popularity in this segment. So, what I did test at FIO JM21, it's a bit more natural with a bit less dynamics and emotions. So it's a matter of your preferences. Here you're getting more emotions and more boosted macro part. FIO is a bit naturalish and a bit more monitoring. And Hybe R3 Pro or 2, last R3 version I've tested, it's a bit warmer with more weight and with additional warmth on the bass and mids. Hybe R4 is pretty close to this player, but here you'll get a bit more refined treble, but at the same time Hybe offers a bit more refined mid, so it's a matter of what you need. But in general, pretty good device with nice sound, tons of feature, stylish design, nice work time, so everything is in place here, and it offers a decent value, especially if you're looking for a non-Android player. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.